Oh no. You know, you could have knocked. Remember when someone came in our tent? You know she doesn't like men. That's what they alluded to anyway.
What is it, Witcher?
Who is that girl?
Cynthia, a leashed sorceress.
A charming expression. Do you also use muzzles?
Leash means a connection between a sorceress and her assistant. An unfortunate term, I admit, but it explains how things are. Cynthia can tap my power, use my spells. She's a conduit. And she's learning along the way. It's convenient, and except for the name, not derisive at all. But you're not here to talk about Cynthia.
Okay, so I needed to... Excuse me, I had to take some water. So I needed to talk to her anyway, which was one of my quests, and now that I found that handkerchief, a bandana of tresses, okay. These were all in the conversation, I think, right? So yeah, let's do this.
A sorceress like you ought to know bundles about the wild hunt.
A sorceress's knowledge has nothing to do with superstitions.
The hunt's not a superstition.
True, the phenomenon seems to exist.
I want to know everything there is to know about it.
It's strictly atmospheric. It doesn't interest me. Just as whirlwinds, whirlpools, and snowfalls do not interest me.
So... I found the notes of a scholar, yeah.
There's proof that the wild hunt is a vast accumulation of the power. Something that would interest mages, you'd think.
To the mere mortal, anything that is not immediately comprehensible is suspect, the product of a conspiracy. And where there's a conspiracy, well, it's obvious mages must have hatched it.
I'm a mortal, though probably not a mere one. I found the notes of a man who spent his entire life...
Paranormal phenomena interests Cynthia, my intern. Take this up with her.
Okay, I will. So who is left, though?
Have you heard about a witcher's school? Apparently the Viper's their sign.
No. Why do you ask?
The Kingslayer wears a medallion adorned with a viper.
Pretentious and childish for my taste. He can't be very smart.
Who is left, though?
Have you heard about a witcher's school? Apparently the Viper's the...
No.
The King...
So, Sheila, on Henselt's side.
Your friend Sheila is conniving with Henselt.
I know this, Witcher, but it's no cause for concern. Sheila is there to ensure Henselt doesn't fall prey to the same people who killed Foltest. We don't want him as sovereign of the Pontar Valley, but we also don't need Kedwin to descend into civil war.
No, that makes sense. So I heard Saskia killed a dragon?
Is what they say true? Did Saskia kill a dragon?
Prince Stennis decorated her for it at the court in Vengerberg, so it appears to be true. If you want to know the details, talk to Biggerhorn. Apparently he witnessed it.
What are you doing here?
How is it that King Radovid's court sorceress and advisor is supporting a rebellion in Edirn?
This has grown into more than a simple rebellion, Witcher. Prince Stennis' arrival here confirmed Saskia's right to represent Edirn.
Saskia isn't fighting for Edirn, but for the Pontar Valley. Even Prince Stennis considers you rebels. He hasn't moved against you because war with Kedwin hangs by a thread. Why are you here, Sorceress of Tretogor?
It is my duty. If Henselt occupies the Pontar Valley, Redania and Temeria will respond strongly. The North will disintegrate, its unity gone. A dark scenario that is nevertheless avoidable, provided Saskia is successful and wins the Valley's independence.
Even if she thwarts Henselt, there'll be no independence without agreement from Redania and Temeria.
Temeria's expansionist plans melted away with Foltest's death. Redania's ruler is unpredictable, but even he'll have to respect a victory. I'm here to make this victory a fact.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for Tress.
I'm looking for Triss. Letho forced her to teleport near Vergen.
Letho?
Foltest's killer, perhaps Demavend's too. Will you help me find her?
Certainly. We sorceresses must stick together. We have too many enemies.
Triss contacted you through Sheila de Tanzerville's megascope while in Flotsam.
And I haven't heard from her since.
Can you locate her?
A megascope responds to a person's aura. If I had something of hers, I could find her. You were close to her. Maybe you have something.
I've got Triss's bandana.
Have you learned anything?
Triss was here. Letho forced her to teleport.
Why would he? There are easier ways to travel.
2 of Letho's comrades, probably those responsible for Demoven's death, were hiding among the Scoia'tael. When it became evident in Flotsam that the Kingslayer wanted to dispose of Yorvith, the Scoia'tael leader gave the order to eliminate them. Letho had to reach the unit before the Elven messengers did. He could only do that by teleporting.
I assumed that Triss wanted to teleport to me, but she missed the mark and they ended up in the gullies. What happened next?
Letho left her in a gully, wounded. He probably thought that she'd diversify the local trolls' diet. He himself went to see the elves and massacred the unit with his comrades. They're somewhere on the other side of the fog.
What about Triss?
She escaped from the troll. Everything suggests she's somewhere in the area.
I can assure you she is not in Vergen.
She has to be here. Locate her.
I'll try, but it will take some time. Have you learned anything else?
Sheila ordered Leto and Tress killed.
Sheila ordered Letho and Triss killed.
I can't believe that.
Believe it. I ran into some mercenaries she enlisted to kill Letho and anyone found with him.
She must have meant the other Kingslayers. Are you sure she knew Triss was with him?
Are you so sure of Sheila? There was something going on between her and Triss. I sensed a lot of tension.
A misunderstanding.
Maybe. Let's find Triss and clear everything up.
I need some time. What's going on out there?
Let's see.
Uh-oh. What is going on out there? There's other stuff I need
What's
to
going
talk
on?
about.
The peasants want to take pitchforks to King Demoven's son.
Why?
The Dragonslayer's servant is spreading rumors that Stennis poisoned Saskia. The commoners are in an uproar. They want to dispense justice.
Where's the prince?
Barricaded himself in his room, guarded by nobles. For the moment, the peasants are still respectful, but they are feverish. A fight is inevitable. Help us out. The situation is dire. I'm going to inform the other nobles.
So why did they think that Stennis killed her? Poisoned her? I don't like people like Stennis. I don't like him at all. I don't like any nobility.
I'm not sure if Prince Stennis is guilty, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was involved.
Power. The object of dark desire.
Let's go, before this dark desire becomes too strong and someone gets hurt.
You go. I'll locate Triss. And should anything happen to Prince Stennis, remember, we need his blood.
I remember.
Oh, that's right. We do need his blood. But I still need to talk to you about stuff. I still have stuff to talk to you about.
You wanted to discuss something?
Yes, magic artifact. You and I needed to find one. You said I needed to find one,
You
yes.
said we'd need a magical object to cure Saskia. Any ideas where I might start looking?
Magical items do not grow on trees, as you know. Luckily, this area has a long history. There's the Battle of Wraiths, the site of Sabrina Glevisig's death and suffering, the abandoned mines.
I was hoping you'd be specific.
I won't ask you to traipse around with a divining rod, but please try to be a little inventive. Ask the locals, that's always a good place to start. I dare say Alderman Burden knows every last stone in the area. Maybe you should see him.
Okay.
You wanted to discuss something?
The Immortal.
I found an immortal.
Excellent.
Okay.
You wanted to discuss something?
About the curse, yes.
At the council, you mentioned artifacts were needed to undo the curse.
But I can't look for them now.
I can do that.
Why?
I have my reasons. Tell me something.
What happened here 3 years ago?
What happened here 3 years ago?
Henselt attacked Edern, but met his match. Nobody won that war. Sabrina Glevisig got into a conflict with the commander-in-chief of the Kedweni forces, and this led to both armies being routed. Fireballs turned the battlefield into a flaming tomb. Henselt accused Sabrina of using a forbidden weapon.
And Sabrina cursed Henselt.
I think so. I suspect the curse got out of hand because of the circumstances.
Circumstances? The stars weren't right, wrong phase of the moon. There's always an excuse for simple bungling.
She placed the curse while burning at the stake. Her hands and feet nailed to a wagon wheel. I'd say she did a good job considering.
Okay. Know anything about blood curses?
Know anything about blood curses?
Do you?
We're dealing with a 4th level curse, also known as the Curse of the Archmistress.
Well, well, I'm impressed.
Thing is, until now I thought it was only a myth, that such a curse couldn't be cast.
You thought wrong. There are 6 confirmed cases of this curse being inflicted.
What about confirmed cases of it being lifted?
1. Achieved by a team of sorcerers led by Archmistress Francesca Finderbear, hence the curse's other name. Sabrina Glevezig was on the team.
Small world.
That's not all. The curse investigated by Francesca and Sabrina was designed to end the Tyson dynasty, the rulers of Kovir. They were cursed by Scarlet Rodalega, a complete madman, but very talented. An eclipse and wraiths also accompanied his curse.
So Sabrina's curse is just a knockoff Rodalega.
Exactly.
Okay. What did Francisca learn?
Can Francesca's experience help us?
Certainly. I know the symbols and the workings of the curse thanks to her.
Care to explain? I'm the one risking my neck.
You'll have to relive the battle and change its course at the right moment.
What?
I don't know exactly what will happen. Nobody does.
I'll look for those artifacts.
So I have to relive the battle and change the course. Not all the ghosts were aggressive. Did you notice?
Did you notice? Not all the ghosts were aggressive.
Yes. Most just disappeared when they touched the aura of a living person.
I think the curse corrupts the ghosts of the fallen and turns them into draugrs.
Is that the Witcher's professional name for wraiths?
Draugrs are demons of war. They arise at sites of exceptionally vicious, bloody battles. Their bloodlust and hatred in condensed form.
Can you kill them by conventional means?
A silver sword is enough for a draugr, but as long as the curse remains active, new ones will arise. The soldiers' ghosts are the key. If I could turn the tide of the battle...
For that you'll need symbols of war belonging to those who fell in battle. Hatred, death, courage, and faith. All artifacts must be magically active and connected to the fallen, or they won't lure the ghosts.
Right. I'll look around.
Finding 2 will be enough. Get the symbols of hatred and death and leave the rest to me.
I'd prefer courage and faith.
Don't fuss.
I'll see what I can do. Cecil seems to know a lot about the area.
Okay, I think I know enough now.
I'm good for now. I'll let you know when I learn something.
Okay, so I knew there was things that were going to update. Alright, come on. There's a lot of information. See, there's something over here I can't get to. I couldn't get to it the last time I was in here when I snuck in here when she wasn't here. Okay. So we need to get out of here. Here we go. So there's an uprising going on, some unrest. One of the ingredients needed for the Dragon Slayer's cure was a magical artifact, an item radiating powerful energy. The sorceress could not just create one on the fly, and time was against them. So the Witcher headed outside to ask around the town about magical interactions? I'm sorry. Oh, infestations, ruins, legends of any treasure, any word about places where he could find an item of the kind he needed. Entering the streets, Geralt thought deeply about which townspeople would be best informed and about those who liked collecting stories. I think I already know. I thought I already had it. Royal blood. It's a shame Philippia didn't demand a I already read that. The blood coursing through the veins of Stennis, son of Demavald, was royal without a doubt. When a messenger arrived, bearing news of a riot in front of the prince's abode, Philippa dispatched Geralt there immediately. Peasants recruited into the army were accusing Stennis of poisoning Saskia and threatening to lynch him, so there was no time to lose. Where is Triss Marigold? The Witcher gave the scarf to Philippia, but the search for Triss had to wait. Friendship is all Friendship is all fine and dandy, but politics was always more important to Philippia. At the time, the Redwinian sorceress put all her effort into the attempts to cure Saskia, and no one could blame her for that. Okay, so we need to stop the royal blood battle, and that is where? Where is he at? He's over here. Okay, so I need to find my way down. Okay, so I'd go here, down the stairs and down this tunnel, and then over. That should do it. Alright, I think I found my way here, I hope.
The commoners claim it's our prince is doing.
Castle.
Such judgment is above their station. I believe it's Henselt's provocation. He wants to drive a wedge between us.
Can't talk to you.
Serfs and lords will never be on the same side.
Humans only care how their asses rise as their stations do.
Yep.
Geralt! It's good to see you.
The commoners claim Stennis is involved in Saskia's poisoning. They're looking to slaughter him.
Nobody's maintaining order?
Nobody to keep things peaceful.
Scalen Burden and his dwarves are trying to contain the mob, but they're badly outnumbered.
The plebs will yell a lot, beat someone up, and go home. As peasants do.
Don't be foolish. They're not serfs anymore. The days of them humbly sowing and reaping are gone.
Looks like things are getting nasty.
Does it?
Hear me! What do you want? I'm Scalen Burden. I keep order in Vergen.
Are doing a nice job then? Where was you when they poisoned Saskia?
Give us the prince! Get the flails!
Stop!
Yoveth! Squirrels! Everyone who wants to leave this yard in one piece, keep your hands off your weapons! I don't care if you're a serf or a lord. I'll kill you all if need be.
What's going on?
The servant carrying wine during the feast said that Prince Stennis and Olgan poisoned Saskia. We want justice!
You want revenge. It's not the same thing.
Yep, it's
We
not.
don't care! Saskia's fallen as if dead, while the poisoning prince and noble lords rush to herd us onto the field and sell us to Henselt. We won't let them!
You lie, Colton. Nobody's being sold out. The poisoner must be caught and tried by law.
Your law? What then? He'll pay a fine and get spanked on his ass? We'll spank him all right, with an axe to the throat!
Where's this servant?
Safe. The Scoia'tael keep an eye on him.
Why is the prince hiding in his house if he's innocent?
Enough! I'll shoot the first to reach for a weapon. Then heads will start falling.
There's more of us. You can't kill every...
Then you'll be first. Now back off! We need to act quickly.
So, huh? Yeah.
We?
The mob's akin to a forest after a drought. One spark and the fire will be unstoppable.
I'm no peacekeeper and definitely no judge.
We're both in it, whether you like it or not.
Why are you getting involved?
For her, Gwynblade. Certainly not for this rabble.
What's your plan?
I'll frighten them a little. Bleed them if need be. I'll buy you some time, but be swift. I can't hold them off for long. Question the peasants and the nobles, and talk to the dwarves. Maybe you can get to meet Stennis.
Even if he's guilty, I'm sure he's prepared a suitable story.
You'll know how to sort the sheep from the goats. Also, find the servant who started talking so suddenly. You won't have time to talk to everyone, though, that's for sure.
Serfs and lords will never be on the same side.
Royal blood.
Humans only care how their
Okay, so talk to those gathered in the square. You don't have much time. Luckily, Yerbeth was faster than Geralt and managed to subdue the excited mob before any blood was shed. Yet the peasants were still furious. Left to their own devices, they would sooner or later force their way into Stennis' house. The Witcher decided to see if the accusations of poisoning was justified. He began talking to those gathered in the square and also went inside to speak with the prince. Can I go inside and talk to the prince?
They're playing into Henselt's hands. If they start
Can we have a word?
Why not? I'm Ogden, a founder. I cast mugs, plates, chalices. You need any, Witcher?
No thanks. The tableware in the council chamber is your handiwork?
It is. Made it back in Mayor Farragut's time. Since then, each and every goblet has hit the floor dozens of times, and what happened? Nothing, because they're steel. My goblets are indestructible, impervious to both the fury of sovereigns and servants who are all thumbs.
Saskia's chalice was new.
Aye, it was. Back in Mayor Farragut's day, Avenger Saskia was no more than an itch in her da's britches.
So, anything unusual about the goblet?
Was the order for a normal goblet?
Not a chance. It was supposed to be a gift. I ornamented it richly, even on the inside. Not terribly practical, that, as it's hard to get clean. Some scum is bound to remain. But I wanted it looking downright regal, worthy of our Saskia.
The other chalices were not ornamented on the inside?
Course not.
So, who commissioned the goblet?
Who ordered the goblet from you?
That goblet was a gift. A way for the folk of Vergen to pay tribute to Saskia. I got the honour of casting and presenting it to our lovely leader. The lass liked it so much, she's not used any other vessel since she received it.
Well, any chances that two identical goblets were produced?
Any chance there could have been two identical goblets?
Why, there's no craftsman that comes close to me in Vergen.
Could someone have tried to copy your handiwork?
Ha! I know of one who's been trying for years, but he's a fumbler, a screw-up. He's not produced one decent vessel. They all look like the work of a drunken elf. Thorax, his name.
Okay.
See you at the inn. We'll grab a beer.
This is can't nonsense. Mix water with fire.
Can we have a word?
Murder's in the air.
Okay, so alright.
See you at the inn. We'll grab a beer.
That is only what he lost with her life.
And you see what they did to her?
As I see it,
why is he lingering about? Like the stench in a dwarven hovel.
Those witches be craving gold. This one's sure to say the prince is innocent, then sting Stennis for a pouch.
He better search for a lad who served the Virgin instead of pissing around.
Yeah, once done with the prince, he'd better take care of the magnets. Throwing their weight about too much they are.
So, is this really all about?
What's it really all about? Who's backing you?
We want justice.
We don't need no one backing us. We knows what to do.
How would you punish the prince?
If a lad counts hens wrong, he'll be flogged. What should we then do with a man poisoning others?
Kill him.
A land without a ruler is a nightmare.
We have a ruler, the Virgin of Eden.
It's not certain she'll live.
Then we'll choose another who'll manage, but he must be one of us lads. That way he'll understand us.
And all people is gonna be equal, our way.
And the non-humans?
We have enough down on the fields. Let non-humans find a non-human land.
Wow.
Away with them.
So, did the prince have access to the wine cellar?
The prince stood right next to Saskia during the council. Did he have access to the wine cellar beforehand?
How should I know?
Why flap your mouth then?
The prince is a wealthy lord. Bribing a skivvy to poison the wine is nothing to him.
Just because someone can afford gold teeth doesn't mean they'll pull their healthy ones. You know Saskia's servant?
Willie of the Oblates. He handled the wine, indeed, but loves the Virgin like a sister and mother put together.
He'd gladly get quartered for her.
Where's this Willie of yours?
Hiding in his shack, afraid of them lords. Squirrels guard him.
Okay.
Farewell.
Guilt must be proven, otherwise it's vigilante
down,
justice.
You surly dog!
Talk to the suspect peasant, and the suspect peasant is where? Over here.
Save your threats for your hog-smelling woman.
Can I get into,
I'd gladly hear your opinion on the situation.
Finally, someone reasonable. It's obvious Henselt bribed some serf who then did what he was told.
Henselt couldn't possibly reach Vergen.
Doesn't he have sorcerers at his court? Or perhaps he hired a witcher to break through. There's no other explanation.
That's interesting.
Just think it through. The prince couldn't have done it. The wine was in plain sight. Only the servants touched the decanters, and who are they? Commoners. Then that same commoner incited his folk to stand against the nobles and the prince.
Something to think about.
Enough of this charade!
Try to be reasonable, folks. Sit down and talk in peace.
We've talked enough! Come on, lads, let's drag the prince from his hovel!
Vergen's not a cesspit for anyone to shit in. There are laws to abide, and Scalen Burden's job is to uphold them.
There's no law allowing a serf to threaten a king's scion. I, Silgrat, brother of Seltkirk, the greatest knight to walk Edirnian land, say so.
Does it matter who was born in a castle and who in a pigsty? Any fool can prejudge and condemn. It's easier to accuse than to prove guilt.
Yep.
A peasant servant claims that Prince Stennis supposedly attempted to kill Saskia. Why would the prince do such a dastardly deed? Bear in mind how eminent is his lineage.
That's why! The mongrel covets the crown!
Do you even remember how valorous he was towards Saskia during the negotiations with Henselt?
Pretending to be with her he was, sly fox. Taking the simple peasants in. But us lads ain't so dumb as you lords think.
See for yourselves how the commoners hate the prince, spitting venom like adders. They hatched a plot to dispose of him.
Saskia's servant said that...
Where is this servant, might I ask? If he's got something to say, why does he hide like a thief? The answer is simple. He's a fraud.
He's hiding to save his skin from you, whoresons. Squirrels have to guard him.
One last question. How could the prince poison Saskia? It's a known fact that servants taste wine from the barrels before the virgin sips it.
No need to poison the wine. Smearing the poison inside the chalice would be enough.
I never heard of anyone poisoning a chalice.
You haven't heard much, then. One of the Emperor's forebears died after sampling some lamb. He was always scared of poison and ate supper with his cook. The murderer spread poison on one side of a knife. Then he cut the meat so that only a small piece was poisoned.
The witch is right! Give us Stennis!
Saskia's got her own chalice.
It was commissioned from one of the dwarves. The order came with a very detailed drawing.
Even so, how did it come into Saskia's hand?
It's not clear how the prince poisoned the wine, but that doesn't mean he didn't do it.
Stennis is blowing hot and cold! Everyone knows that!
You were supposed to prove his guilt, not insult him, yokel.
Tell us who else would do it! A peasant wanting to hurt the miss? Never! It's cause of her you noble dogs can't ignore us! A pig won't cut its own throat! A peasant's not foolish enough to raise his hand against his saviour!
Perhaps it is no peasant's deed. However, that doesn't mean the prince is guilty, fool.
Answer me this. Was not Stennis' room next to Saskia's? Do not the wines come from his own lice-ridden cellar? Can he not enter the Virgin's kitchen at will? Yes! His serene dumbhead the prince can, curses on his kin. Nobody in Vergen wants to kill Saskia. And even if they wanted, nobody but Stennis could do it.
Yeah, it's guesswork, not evidence. Yeah, that's for sure.
Those are just words. Too much guesswork and not enough evidence. You can't convict anyone based on that.
Your Highness, this is dangerous.
I am not afraid. Fear is a commoner's trait, unfit for one with royal blood running in his veins. What do you want, to judge me? Is a prince a common thief who steals a dozen eggs at the market? You stand before royal majesty, and you raise your hands against it. In this world there are crimes that can be forgiven, and crimes that, by any means, cannot. Just as a mother killing her own child, or a man slitting his own brother's throat cannot be forgiven. A crime against one anointed by the gods themselves also cannot be condoned. He who raises hand against divine right is not worthy to walk this world. And what about he who poisons the Virgin of Edirn? Firstly, Saskia is alive, so no one can blame me for her death. Secondly, you have no proof that it was I who tried to murder her. And thirdly, I assure all gathered here, I won't rise above the law. However, only she, the Virgin of Edirn, can judge me. Can he? And if Saskia won't get well, who's gonna judge you? I believe she can be cured. But if the gods decide otherwise, we'll summon a coven of the wise who can pass just sentence.
Those are words worthy of a true sovereign!
I am the one you should look to for guidance. Let my deeds be the flame that lights up your darkness.
The prince is guilty? No, I don't think he is guilty.
The prince has a right to a fair trial, no matter if he's guilty or not. We can't deny him that. What will the peasants do if we hand them the prince? Will they hear him out? No. They'll hang him from the nearest tree or tear him limb from limb. What will happen if we allow a lynching? What if people see that might makes right? Who'll guarantee they won't desire to avenge their wrongs, real and imagined? Who'll protect people whose only fault is noble birth from the exasperated mob? And where will it lead?
Okay. Alright, so they took him under arrest. If I would have did it different, would they have killed him? They're going to put him in prison. This is why we have a prison.
The peasants are furious.
They didn't dare mount a frontal attack.
But they haven't forgotten about Stennis, and won't. It'll be that way until Saskia regains consciousness.
She won't keep order by strength alone.
Unless it's a great strength.
We need an authority figure, and royal blood.
5 courts go to waste in the Dwarven dungeon at the moment.
There's also Henselt.
Going into that haunted mist is madness. Stealing Stennis away would be easier.
No. Anything involving Stennis will cause a riot.
I've had enough of the peasants and nobles barking. Saskia's the best leader I know, but she can't hope to defeat Henselt's army with this rabble, which is why I'm going to get reinforcements.
Where?
4 Scoia'tael units await in hiding to the east. Time to summon them.
You'll make it in time?
I must.
Okay. Interesting. So, new quest phase. Can I now get into his home? That isn't what I wanted. I wanted the journal. Royal blood. Okay, luckily, okay, so the craftsmen claim that the people of Bergen adore Saskia. Their love was so great that they had a beautifully adorned goblet fashioned for the dragon slayer. The dwarves so highly lauded the quality of the adornments inside the goblet that Geralt had a terrible thought. Someone could have placed the poison within the goblet and not in the wine Saskia had consumed. The nobility had their opinion, the peasants theirs. The man accused by the nobility was not guilty. How do they know? They blamed Stennis for poisoning Saskia, as the peasant movements initiated by the Dragon Slayer were not to his liking. Okay, as the peasant, yeah. The man accused by the nobility was not guilty. Oh, they were trying to... Okay, were they trying to accuse the guy who made the goblet? The noble-born thought that a peasant bribed by Henselt poisoned Saskia. Serfs were always guilty for coin. The notables standing before Stennis' chamber claimed they have no honor. They would sell their own mothers for a handful of copper. No, they wouldn't. Geralt ruled that the Virgin of Edra should decide Stennis' fate. Of course, the peasants did not like it, but nobody was keen on arguing and angering a witcher, nor to question Saskia's right to pass judgment. Everyone thought the girl's verdict would be just. That is condemning. Stennis was captured and led away under guard. Geralt had only one source of royal blood remaining. Henselt. The walls have ears. You may remember that Geralt had been trying to ascertain who had poisoned Saskia, the Dragon Slayer. One trail led him to a serf who had easy access to Saskia's chambers and could have been bribed by the assassins. Well, the Scoia'tael had been shadowing him closely. They were merely waiting for him to reveal his treachery. Yervith was receiving reports on his every move. I'm supposed to go talk to him, I think, right? Suspect Thoric. After talking to the curator of the goblet, which had been a gift from the folk of Bergen to Saskia, Geralt decided to visit Thoric. He suspected that the original goblet had been replaced with another containing the poison. Thoric was the only artisan in Bergen capable of replacing replicating the original and thus producing the goblet used to poison the dragon slayer. Okay, some of this seems a little bit convoluted. Hatred symbolized. The Witcher learned that to lift the curse from the battlefield, he would need mementos of the battle representing the virtues and horrors of war. He was concerned because he knew very little about the clash between the Darien and Caledonian whatever armies. Bilipia then told him to see Cecil Burden, alderman, who was reputed to be a real trove of knowledge on the subject. Geralt went off to question the dwarf about the battle. All right, a lot of stuff here. Anything updated here? So, the Troll of Bergen. The grateful troll returned Triss's ribbon to Geralt, and so ended this part of the story. It wasn't a ribbon, it was a handkerchief, a bandana, the she-troll. Once more, Geralt put the cart before the horse, as the Witcher's rules go, and stood alongside the monster rather than the humans. He even managed to convince the troll to return to her husband, who eagerly awaited her. Adam Pangret. Adam Pangret. Anyone familiar with military history and the annals of war has probably heard of Adam Adu Pangret, who was one of the Sky Cats, rabble-rousers, political prisoners, and other convicts whom King Theosin freed to aid unofficially the military effort of the Northern Kingdoms during the Second War against Nilfgaard. These men formed the core of the Covert and mercenary units that streamed south at the time. Okay, I don't know if I ever read that one. While exploring the ravine, Geralt chanced upon Pangret and his men fighting a troll. Since the monster death would decidedly not suit the Witcher's interest, and Pangret and his men refused to back down, tempers flared and a fight broke out between them. Yet the soldier of fortune was shrewd enough to recognize the Witcher's technical superiority. He surrendered to Geralt, thus becoming the conflict's first prisoner of war. Prisoner of war, was he? Yorveth. When Yorveth disappeared after the poisoning of Saskia, nobody expected to see him again. Some whispered he had been behind the poisoning, or that he had simply lost his will to fight. Nobody believed his talk of elven archers. Time would show what his promises were worth. Okay, because he disappeared to get his other Saskia. Even Yorveth grew doe-eyed when he gazed at her. This was especially puzzling because Scoia'tael are generally unmoved by human women, even those who are thought to be extremely beautiful. Prince Stennis. The young prince was found guilty of poisoning Saskia, but he could consider himself lucky as he was merely imprisoned and not torn to shreds by the mob. All right. So, where is I need to talk to, so I need to go up here. Where is Tress Marigold? Is that what I need to do? Or hunting magic? That we can hold on to. Let's do this first one. So we need to go talk to Cecil. Where is he at? He is down here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close down this episode. When we come back, I will be advancing some of these quests. We'll talk to Cecil, see if he can give us more information about where we need to go. Oh, and this is also up here too. Okay. Why would we have two places to go? I'm closer to this area. I think if I can find my way there, I think I just have to go through this building, and then I can make my way down here. So anyway, if you're enjoying, click like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Sahara out.